Assalamu alaikum everybody. When Maria was speaking, I was like, great, what she's talking about is very, very relevant to what I want to be talking about. And then this video came up, and I'm like, whoa, how will I ever be what this guy is trying to do? So, yeah, there's this bit of a entertaining kind of video over there, but what I will be talking about is more relevant to what Maria speaks, and I'm glad that I'm speaking right after she presented. What I'm talking about today, and I'm glad to be representing the BNU faculty here today, but what I'm talking about today is Resettling the Indus, and I don't know if you can see over here, I don't know if it's clear enough, but it says foundation underneath, but the foundation part came much, much later. We like to think of RTIndus, which is that name for Resettling the Indus. We like to think of RTIndus as a movement rather than as an organization or as a non-profit. We like to think of it as a movement that anyone can take up, and so anyone who has been involved with us, who has helped us out even for 5 minutes, is part of our RTIndus family. Two things that I'd like to say before I start is that RTIndus presentations are notorious for never ending on time. We've done a lot of work and we're very proud of it, and we'd love to share everything with all of you. So we tend to go over time a little bit, so I already apologize for that if that happens. And the second thing is that, again, because there's a lot of work, it's a very visual intensive presentation. So there's going to be a lot of slides, and I'm going to flip through them really quickly, and I hope you're able to kind of follow as I take you through this entire journey. So RTIndus, where did it start? It started in 2010, and anytime someone mentions 2010 in the context of Pakistan, एक चीज हमारे ज़हन में क्या आती है? The 2010 floods. They were easily the most devastating natural disaster that ever kind of impacted the country. हजारों क्या लाखों खानदानों की जिंदगियां तबाह हुई थी, हजारों घर, हजारों स्कूल तबाह हुए थे. The loss of livestock and loss of crops was so immense कि हम anticipate नहीं कर पा रहे थे कि हम किस तरह से recover करेंगे. So easily one of the worst disasters to have ever hit Pakistan in the history of the country. और उसका स्केल इतना बड़ा था और पूरे पाकिस्तान पे स्प्रेड कर रहा था कि हम नॉर्थ एरिया से जाके इसको डील करने की कोशिश करते थे, जाके साउथ पंजाब पे हिट करता, साउथ पंजाब पे जाते तो उससे पहुंच रहा था. 3 महीने लगातार there was this constant onslaught of this flood that was just flowing through the river Indus until it hit the Arabian Sea. So that's where the story of RTIndus starts. And just an image to kind of illustrate what was going on, just the scale and the intensity of the disaster. Uprooted a lot of lives. So सबसे ज़्यादा affected हुआ था rural areas में. शहर हमारे बच गए थे more or less, शायद थोड़े northern areas में हमारे बड़े शहर towns affected होंगे. But major जो हमारा सबसे नुकसान हुआ था वो हमारे गांव में हुआ था, क्योंकि वही ज़्यादा Indus के एरिया बसे हुए. So what we did, me and Heather, who was then my friend and is now my husband, what we did, like every one of us, we set out to kind of help organizations that were pushing in, fundraising कर रहे थे, packages बना रहे थे, relief packages बना रहे थे to send these families that were suffering from these floods. And we did our part too. We spent every evening after work trying to figure out किसको अच्छा कर सकते हैं, किसके लिए हम कुछ कर सकते हैं. And this is me over here helping one of the organizations out in packing stuff to send out for families. So one day, Heather and I were supposed to meet in the evening again for one of these events, and I messaged to him at work, and I remember exactly where I was sitting. I was like, we're doing all of this and that's great, but are we doing enough? And that's exactly the text message that I sent him, and I remember it very clearly. Are we doing enough? Because when we met in the evening, I kind of explained what I said, and I was like, we're architects. Yes, we're humans first and all of those things, and we're helping these people, but we're architects, and one of the biggest problems that this country is going to face once the water is received is the fact that the destruction हुई है, सबसे बड़ा scale जो destruction हुआ है वो दिन fabric का हुआ है. हमारे घर टूटे हैं, हमारे स्कूल टूटे हैं, हमारे crops उजाड़ हुए हैं, पानी खड़ा हुआ है. So it's a very architectural problem that we're facing over here right now. So I think we're doing a lot, but we're not doing enough because we're not doing anything as architects over here. And he was like, you're right, and he's kind of a crazy guy, so he got really intense about it. He started thinking about ways to kind of do things. And so we started nagging people, and we're like, हमें कुछ करने दे, और हमारे पास कुछ था नहीं. We were 2 people trying to figure out what to do and how we would help more than just as people who were contributing in the relief efforts. And we just kept nagging people कि आप हमें कुछ करने दे, ये करने दे, वो करने दे. तो 2 दिन बाद किसी ने फाइनली कहा कि अच्छा यार, जान छोड़ो, हम आपको भेज देते, 4 साल भेज देते, 2 दिनों के लिए वहाँ पे कुछ एडिशनल काम करें. we'll send you there. So we were given 2 days, and we were taken to a village nature Sada called Sara Yasin Day. And when we got there, I'm sorry, I don't have pictures of the village, we lost them in the last 5 years, but when we got to the village, we realized the scale of damage, it was just so complete, just so absolute. That was kind of just unbelievable. It was kind of overwhelming to think about how we could resettle this village over here again. I mean, the village that was over here again. All we could see was a lot of debris all around us. So we spent 1 day on site trying to figure out what had happened, talking to the people over there, figuring out which side they did work, specific construction techniques, so and the next day, the 1 day we spent to build this kind of 3-page document, which was the origin of this idea of resettling the Indus. At the end of by the end of the visit, we had this idea which we believed in, which we knew that it would work not just in Chasada, but it would work anywhere in the world. So I'll just run you very quickly through these slides that we prepared, which became the basis for the establishment for the Indus, and then I'll quickly flip through the slides of what we actually did. So this was our first day की थोड़ी सी observation in terms of understanding कि system construction होती है, कि नीचे stone use होता है, वहाँ पे जो थोड़ा बहुत available होता है, they use wood, they use bamboo, they use all of these things, and so we're like, okay, the one thing that we have to realize is that disaster इतने बड़े scale पे हुआ है कि we cannot be extravagant in terms of the resources that we employ in terms of rebuilding. So whatever solution we come up with has to use local resources as much as possible. And not just that, we have to salvage as much material that we find in the debris as possible. And we have to use the human resources that is available within the community as much as possible. So these were the few things that we realized would make this a sustainable model which we can then replicate all over the country. So this was just an understanding of what kind of construction happens in Jarsada. And then we had made a 6-step process. The first step being that बैठे रहे उधर लोग अभी कुछ कर नहीं सकते क्योंकि पानी खड़ा हुआ है वो अपनी ज़मीनों पे कुछ उगा नहीं सकते. So what the men do is they go and clean up the sites, they clean up the village site, they start to sort out the debris. The women on the other hand, they start to train them in how to tie bamboos so they can start building trusses for the construction of their own houses. While the men are cleaning up the site, they start to stockpile the raw material that they can find so that we don't have to buy material, we don't have to ask people for large sums of donation, but we use whatever we have available over there, but burnt refuse is there, wood uses is there, stone uses is there. So stockpile them and start to divide them in equal amounts so every family gets an equal share of amount from the rubble. The third step was that घर तो एक हो जाएगा तो हमने पूरे विलेज को भी देखना है, तो उसमें देखना है कि पानी किस तरह वहाँ से कहाँ पे पानी का रिजर्वायर बन सकता है, कहाँ पानी जमा होना चाहिए. गूगल अर्थ के मैप से कि हमने समझा कि किस तरह विलेज की पहले सिचुएशन होती थी, उसी के बेसिस पे हमने रीब्लॉक किया उसी प्लान को, और जो बेसिक सर्विसेज है, डिस्पेंसरी हो गई, स्कूल हो गया, उसको उसके हिसाब से मैप किया. So getting this a complete sense of what the community looked like, what the village looked like before, and trying to kind of rebuild that with our process over here. The fourth step would be कि बजाय के लोग off-site टेंटों में भी रहें, जब क्लियर अप हो जाए साइट, उनके टेंट्स उनके ही प्लॉट्स पर आके वापस शिफ्ट हो जाए, वहीं पे वो सेटल हो जाए, उनके घर इर्द-गिर्द आपस में साथ-साथ रीबिल्ड करें, बजाय कि वो कहीं और रह रहे हो, उनका घर कहीं और बन रहा हो. So that was, we felt like this was an important step because that sense of acknowledgement, the sense of engagement, the sense of ownership was very necessary for the community to build that better. Fifth step, which is where we come in and we say, okay, the only thing we're going to do as architects is going to tell them that आपकी construction techniques हैं, but flood में इसलिए कहते हैं क्योंकि कुछ आपके issues थे, आपकी foundation strong नहीं थी, आपकी छत बहुत heavy थी, तो जब पानी आया तो उसने सब कुछ डुबा दिया. तो बड़े basic हमने उनको principles of construction दिए कि ये आप करें, इस तरह करें, हम आपको बताएंगे, bamboo की छतें बनाएं, मजबूत foundations बनाएं, and you're good to go. So that's where we came in mainly. And then the last step was कि पानी जो खड़ा हुआ है fields में उसको भी तो किसी तरह drain करना है क्योंकि पानी खड़ा रहा for the next 6-7 months in the fields. So essentially हमारी 2 crop cycles बिल्कुल ज़ाया गई. So the sixth step was trying to figure out a way how to drain water by figuring out the lowest points कहाँ है पानी को किस तरह पानी को आहिस्ता करके drain out कर सकते हैं. We were there for 2 days and obviously we didn't have any resources with just 2 people with just ideas. So we handed over this plan, a copy of this plan to the officials that took us there, and we said, we believe in this, we know this works, and this has allowed us to figure out a way to resettle the entire index, and that's where the name came from. We were so sure that this could work that we actually called it Resettling the Indus. So we gave them the plans, and this isn't where we started working, but this is where the idea formalized and it kind of became an actual solution that we could use. We came back and we decided that we can start to divide the Indus River into 5 different regions that we would work with, and we promised ourselves that this process that we're talking about is something that can be applied anywhere in these regions over here, and we said that if you give us the opportunity, we'll be able to prove that somehow. 5 years later, 2014 was the 5th region that we worked in, which covers all 5 of these regions. So I can tell you for a fact that this works. So this was the model that we were using. First was reuse. That we reuse the sources that we have available, salvage the materials that we have available, use local resources, use indigenous methods of construction. Rebuild, so that, the biggest solution that was being offered to the people was that you relocate to some alien site and you build your villages new on these sites. And that was the solution that is completely unacceptable in any part of the world. Relocation is something that you resist to the maximum extent. So rebuild where you are and how you live, rather than giving you new ways of construction that will not relate to your cultural context, to your local climatic context, will give you ways to rebuild in the same context that you know to live in for the past generations that you've been living in. Resettle was that we won't just be resettling your houses, your individual houses. We'll be taking this idea, we'll be resettling the entire village, the entire community, so that it becomes a sustainable process. And restabilize was that once we're done resettling the community, we'll make sure that we stabilize your economy by offering you other enterprise solutions, other services such as schools and dispensaries, so that it works better for you. So this was a kind of diagram with which we worked. This was a model that we used. Okay. So once we came back, we found a couple of students and faculty members at BNU who had been working really extensively generating relief funds, and we kind of attached ourselves with them. We said, okay, you have relief funds, you have a place where you're going in Muzaffargarh that you're going to be using as your place for relief efforts. So let us join you. Let us join you. And I was an alumni of BNU myself, so I was like, this works. Let us come together with you, and we'll make sure that what you're doing in Muzaffargarh is not just relief efforts, but it's also rebuilding efforts. So in Muzaffargarh, in Purai, the first thing we went and set up was a brick bhatta. Because one thing we realized was कि floods आए हैं तो लोगों ने ईंटें नहीं कर दी हैं क्योंकि उनको नजर आया opportunity कि यहाँ पे हम महंगी ईंट बेच सकते हैं. जो 1 रुपए की ईंट होती थी वो 4 रुपए की बेच सकते हैं. So we realized that the best way to deal with this problem is to make our own ईंट. इससे हम एम्प्लॉय भी करेंगे लोगों को, जो उधर ही के लोग हैं उन्हीं को एम्प्लॉय करके हमने पूरा एंटरप्राइज सेटअप किया. So the first thing we did was set up an enterprise to kind of make sure कि उनको एक employment opportunity भी मिले जो अपना घर बना रहे हैं लोग. But that was our stipulation कि जिनका घर बन रहा है, at least 1 or 2 members of that family needs to be part of that construction team, because we don't want to bring in a labor team from outside and they do the work. So not only did we set up an enterprise, we also developed a machine for mud compression, mud brick compression की machine बनाई थी, but because scale इतना बड़ा था, इतनी हमें रोज बनानी थी कि this wasn't as feasible a method for us. So we just started to think of a better mixture of ईंटें जो हम use कर सकते हैं to build over there. The first thing we built over there was a dispensary. और उसमें simple techniques होती हैं. पक्की हमारी foundation होगी, हमारे जो कोई भी अगर पॉइंट जहाँ पे लोड आता है वहाँ पे हम बगैर किसी लिंटर के या बगैर किसी आर्च की स्ट्रक्चर डालेंगे. और जो सबसे बड़ा मसला था पंजाब में वो ये था कि भारी छत होती थी, भारी लिंटर डालते थे, वो एकदम प्रेशर डालते थे और गिर जाता था सब कुछ. So हमने बैम्बू की छतें उसके अंदर डेवलप करना शुरू की. And this is the first dispensary that we constructed in Muzaffargarh. And that allowed us to kind of create a relationship with the community, which we also felt was an important part of this entire process. कि हम ये नहीं कर सकते कि हम जाएं नहीं और हम बताएं कि आपको इस तरह करना चाहिए, इस तरह करनी चाहिए चीजें. We have to convince them that we're honest in their efforts. What we want to do is to actually resettle that community. So that dispensary allowed us to create an actual sustainable relationship with the people over there. उसके बाद हमने 2-3 मॉडल्स यूज किए to kind of start to develop houses over there. एक ये था कि हम उनको बता देते थे कि आप ही के जिस तरह के ट्रेडिशनल घर के सेटअप है हम आपको डिजाइन करके देते हैं. If your house has been completely destroyed. This is one example. This was one of the first houses that we built in Pune. Or what we did was we looked at the existing जो हमारा setup मिल रहा था, Google Earth कुछ हमें मिल रही थी image, उससे हमें पता चल जाता था कि क्या एग्जिस्टिंग स्ट्रक्चर है ये ऊपर और क्या डिस्ट्रॉय हो चुका है और हम उसको किस तरह रीबिल्ड कर सकते हैं. So that we're not giving more than what people had or less than what people had. We're giving every family exactly what they had, so that there's that sense of continuity amongst them as well. So every house that we worked on had this set of drawings that we prepared in consultation with the people over there, because we wanted that sense of ownership. उन्होंने बनाना था घर, उन्होंने रहना था, तो हर डिसीजन जो हम लेते थे वो हम उन्हीं से पूछ के लिया करते थे. So there's some more plans of how houses were designed and built over there. This is my favorite picture over here. What you see on the top is the complex of houses. इसमें 4-5 families हैं, which was completely destroyed after the floods, and that is the same complex after we rebuilt it in 2000 at the end of 2010. So you can see, I don't know if you can tell or not, but we've tried to maintain the same kind of built fabric, the same kind of composition of the houses as it was before it was destroyed. So I think that we consider a success for ourselves as well. Another success that we consider is that you can see all these tiny details in these houses that allow you to see that the people have actually claimed ownership of these houses, as opposed to moving into this dragged houses where they're not able to relate to the kind of construction that they're using. And seeing people actually living in these houses, actually occupying these houses, was, I think, one of the biggest success. And these things, I mean, we didn't make these things. These were things that the people constructed afterwards for their own houses. Just some pictures showing how people actually started to take over the houses. And so it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't just about houses. It was about how we were able to resettle an entire community. And as you can see over here, ये हमारे पास एक funding आई थी, काफी ज़्यादा बड़ी funding आई थी, and we said, okay, we resettled this entire बस्ती मोचीवाला, which is in Muzaffarpur as well. And you can see the 2009 का image है, where you can see the exact setup of the village. And 2010, I don't know if you can see clearly or not, but it's completely flattened altogether. So we used that Google Earth image to figure out how to resettle the village as it was before. And based on जो हमारे land donate किया गया था, वहाँ पे और services का भी शुरू कर दिया, such as a school and a mosque, which the community insisted that they wanted for their village as well. And then not just the community, but we also started developing projects for the development of roads and how drainage systems would work. So we moved from a singular dispensary to over 100 houses in Punjab, to developing entire villages, to developing the infrastructure of those villages as well. So it was a process जिसमें I can guarantee you कि हमें आज तक major funding शायद 2-3 projects के लिए मिली होंगी. एक दफ़ा कोक ने किया था.